welcome to Seen Through Glass. Welcome to the iconic Pikes Peak in Colorado. You find me in my 911 Carrera T following Life of Palos, a fellow YouTuber in his McLaren 570S, his tuned McLaren 570S. We have got 12 miles ahead of us, over 150 turns. Whilst we aren't going to be setting any records today, we can still have a ton of fun. Let's go! Well, welcome to 14,000 foot above sea level. We are so high that my GoPros unsucked themselves. Their suction mounts came undone and just dropped off the car. I'm actually struggling to breathe. The compression, the pressure from being this high up. Oh, maybe it's just a lack of oxygen actually. Yeah, that would make more sense. But anyway, this is the top of Pikes Peak, and what is quite ridiculous is that that climb took us about 35-40 minutes. The record is the all-electric Volkswagen IDR car that did it in under 8 minutes. It's terrifying to think how fast cars must be coming up here, especially as the higher the climb, the sort of less powerful they are. I guess it doesn't affect electric cars in the same way as combustion engines, but anyway, I'm also realizing it's really cold at the top of this mountain. Where's my jacket? Aaron, welcome to the channel.
Yes, hello.
We're going inside because,
yes,
I mean, these guys should have given us a hint and a clue as to how cold it was.
I mean, it dropped like 40 degrees or so since the bottom, so. My
hands are struggling to feel anything. So yes, we're going inside.
Yes.
To so hopefully a viewing platform.
I think so.
Nice. You might think I'm being dramatic, but it's genuinely just bizarre being this high. The breath is just so short. Anyway, we are now thankfully heading back down. I shouldn't really be that spoiled. It is incredible up here, but your body just feels foreign. Anyway, as I said, we are headed back down now to just sort of enjoy the view and the scenery, but also the road, because 100 years, well, nearly 100 years, I think the first official Pikes Peak hill climb was in 1916 or 17, so yeah, very nearly 100 years. But as a motorsport fan, it is just absolutely the most iconic hill climb, I think, in the world. And so getting the chance to drive this road, even though we're doing it quite slowly, is still awesome. Like most sort of national parks or iconic parts of America, speed limits are pretty low and regularly enforced. So we can't exactly thrash it here, but it's not really about that. It's just about enjoying the moment. That's a good way to start the day, I think. Yeah, I didn't need my coffee so much. Car wash?
Yes, that's next.
Okay, so I follow you. So here we are, Autofilm Solution, also the home of Christian's Luxury Bubbles, the guys who are going to be washing my car, because yes, it is filthy. I mean, I'm really, like, not over-exaggerating. There's parts of me that want this car to always be filthy, like a sort of Le Mans car, but then there's also parts of me that really stress out about it, and just so you know, it's impossible to stick GoPros onto a dirty car. They fall off, and yeah, look at all of this. That is literally the definition of kills bugs fast right there, so that needs some work. But whilst we're parked up, I thought I'd come and show you Aaron's car, Life of Palos. I mean, there's a couple of actually really nice other bits lurking around as well. But yeah, let me show you this thing, because McLaren 570S, but it's had a stage 2 tune on it, and it's also got a straight through exhaust, so it's been sounding super loud. In fact, the turbos have been sounding super loud all morning. But I love the spec that he's got on this car, especially the carbon fiber hood or bonnet. People are already accusing me of sounding a bit American in my recent videos, so let's stick with the British theme, the bonnet. But yeah, really, really nice. I'm not entirely sure which kit that's from. We can ask him a bit later. But tied together really nicely. I think the only only thing that I might change, I might do orange details. You can see it's sort of red, which ties in nicely between the 57DS badge and the brake calipers, but and the stitching inside. Oh, it's a very, very nice car. Leaving the car behind us, and we're going to get
barbecue.
Oh yeah!
Hopefully.
Hopefully. You've teased me now. I'm going to be so furious if we get there and it's closed.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, but it's like 30 degrees or something like that now. We're not really. Where are we in geography?
When you say 30, I'm like, that seems cold because I'm using the Fahrenheit system.
Sorry, of course.
Yeah, my bad. We're in the US. Come on, man.
When do we get to like real barbecue land? That's going to be Texas, right, for me?
Yeah, I think so. Are you going to Texas?
Oh yeah, we're going to Texas after this. Or we're going to Kansas first. We've done a lot of Mexicana, but not a lot of barbecue. And oh, there's some whips hanging around here. That sounds like it's not stock.
No.
By the way, the turbos on your car, insane.
Doesn't sound bad.
No, I mean so loud.
Oh no, they're close.
Oh,
I'm super sad now.
I was so excited. Change of plan. Because the food truck wasn't open, I'm going to stay here and film the guys washing the car. Vicky and Aaron are going to go and do a food run for some local fast food. Wow, that thing's loud. Your car is so loud.
You want me to rev it?
Yeah, oh yeah, go. At least I know my food's gonna get back quickly.
We'll see you in a bit.
Godspeed! This is the benefit of right-hand drive in a left-hand drive country. Dude, thank you so much for today. Yeah, it's been awesome. We're now headed up to Denver. I'm going to tell you more about that in a second, but we're saying goodbye to Aaron.
Yes.
If you don't know his channel, go check it out. It's revolutionary. It's totally different from the automotive scene, so you're going to enjoy it. But we might see him tomorrow. I'm not, yeah, we're
see.
TBC, anyway.
Have a great trip, guys.
Thank you so much, dude. See you later. Drive safe in that thing.
Yes, sir.
I'm headed to Ferrari of Denver. It's been a while, well, it's not really been that long. I was going to say it's been a while since I filmed a Ferrari, but obviously Glenn's F15 Canada wasn't that long ago. However, Ferrari of Denver has said that I can come along and potentially jump in one of their cars, and there's one car in particular I want to jump in. I'm going to explain more when we get there. We've got about an hour's drive, and then yes, we'll catch up at Ferrari of Denver. So here we are then, Ferrari of Denver, and yes, I've asked them to pull the FF out because some of you may remember that last year, whilst in the UK, I made a video talking about the fact that at some point I'm going to want to add another Ferrari to my collection. I mean, I realise collection is a stretch. I think I mean add another Ferrari to my 360 because yes, this is where my heart lies, and I would love to be one of those people that in the future has multiple Ferraris. And back last year I tried out the 612 Scaglietti, kind of the predecessor to this FF. And actually, funnily enough, the guys here at Ferrari of Denver have a nearly identical spec GTC4 Lusso, the successor to this car, but that car is still ludicrously expensive, whilst this in the UK is kind of relatively affordable now because a high mileage example is going for like 100 or 120 grand. So I've never driven one before, I've only ever been in the passenger seat of one. Today I'm going to be driving an FF for the first time, trying to work out whether it could be my next Ferrari. Now some of you may not know that I very nearly selected a Ferrari FF for Drive the World. Then I realised I'm really not as rich as Shmee150, so I had to change my mind. But that was nearly a year ago now, and in that time, as I mentioned, FF prices have dropped and made them relatively affordable. And relatively affordable Ferraris are the kind of Ferraris I'm after. Because I think, as I mentioned in the video last year and regularly, you know, when you start talking about cars 150 grand plus, I don't have that kind of money, and Magnitude Finance, you know, probably can't get me to borrow that kind of money, and First Point probably won't be able to insure me on a car that costs me that much money. But anyway, here we are in the FF. And the thing which is kind of mad is this car is approaching 10 years old now, but it still is so good. Now, a slightly weird thing to say in a Ferrari, well, it's not automatic, it's a double-clutched gearboxed car. I actually find the gearbox a little bit slow. Maybe that's the age starting to show itself now, but just every now and again, it's just you feel a slight hesitance. It's obviously nowhere near as bad as the old F1 gearboxes, but it's just not quite as sharp as, for example, the GTC4 Lusso. But look, let's face it, for what is 100 grand, you can still have a naturally aspirated V12 Ferrari that fits 4 people. This truly is the everyday Ferrari monster. Of course, also 4-wheel drive, which makes it perfect for somewhere here like Colorado or somewhere like the UK, where the weather, you know, isn't always sunny and dry. You could use this car on Christmas Day to get your granny to lunch to have some turkey, or you could load it up with your niece and nephews and do this kind of thing. It's such a bizarre concept of a car, but I think a brilliant one. And you know, I always lean towards mid-engined Ferraris, mid-engine V8s realistically. The big front-engine V12s, whilst I like them, they're not always the way I should have leaned. But the FF has always been intriguing to me. I've always kind of gone, I will admit, I don't love the way it looks. Sometimes I think it's sort of reminiscent of the clown shoe, the BMW Z car, but I feel like maybe it's aging well, or maybe because the Lusso's come along, we've just got more used to the shape and the looks. Now, as the interior goes, I actually think it's pretty nice. This car, as well, has got a lot of sort of carbon fibre elements. However, according to Vicky, it is now dated. We sat in this car and some of the screens turned on and she was like, "Oh, what is that?" She's remaining quiet now because I think she's embarrassed that I've called her out. But I actually find this car is relatively representative of modern day Ferrari. Some of these elements, especially the air conditioning and even the sort of gear selector, you would find in more modern cars. But here we are on a Titan Twisty, and in a car that looks the same size as a Rolls-Royce Phantom. It's super alert. It's got that classic Ferrari darty steering, which you don't expect because of its size, the fact you've got this long bonnet in front of you and the space for passengers behind you. I'm going to drop back a bit now because we've got a big Escalade, I never know quite to pronounce that in front of us, who's maybe not going as fast as we could. But yeah, it's kind of everything I thought it was going to be, having driven the Lusso, but it's just... Is there a bar? I don't know. It's a Ferrari. It's a V12 Ferrari. Am I going to be that upset? I'm not sure. It's very, very nice. And I just think that as it sort of approaches the under 100k mark, could it be a bit of a bargain? Because we all know that Ferraris don't like to hang around under 100k for long. However, let's talk about some negatives, and that comes within the running costs, because you don't get a V12 engine in any car that is cheap to run. I'm talking about fuel costs and also just servicing. Big engines like this, they cost money to look after. And apparently FFs do have some other problems, mainly related to the sort of 4-wheel drive and gearbox setup. So you've got to be aware that you're going to be spending a lot of money to own this car, but I think that's always the case when you're talking about Ferraris, Lamborghinis or McLarens. I've got a little bit of a standstill start here, so get onto that softer tarmac and let's see what you got, FF. Oh, it's good. You know what? It's not ballistic fast. It's not like gut-wrenching speed, but it's nice fast, and the sound. Where's my window? There we go. Let's just get a little bit of audio. The road's got a tiny bit tighter, so... It's like low-end V12 grunt, followed by Pavarotti, or I don't know, who's a higher opera singer? Oh, not somewhere up there. Oh, something you can't beat about one of these engines. Anyway, I reckon we're gonna try and ditch this pickup truck in front of us, spin around, and enjoy this car on the way back down. Whoa, Ferrari, you get me every time! Well, here we are back at Ferrari of Denver, which means it's time for me to say goodbye to the FF. Will this be one day my next Ferrari? You know what? Potentially. It's maybe not the Ferrari that I lust after, that I desire every single day of the week, but it's just so good and so usable. There are a ton of other cars that always catch my eye. They just brought this out, which is absolutely stunning and a little bit of old school cool. But yes, so glad I got the opportunity. Thank you to Ferrari of Denver. What a long day. We started at, well, around 7 AM and it's now 5:30. Well, that's a pretty standard working day, isn't it? But yeah, I'm feeling tired. A lot's happened. We went up Pikes Peak. I drove an FF, hung out with Life of Palos, got this car cleaned finally. It's just, yeah, it's been a lot. But we are now an hour and a half or so north of our hotel back down in Colorado Springs. So that's where we need to head. Huge thanks to everyone involved in today. I've kind of forgotten all the different people that I need to thank and plug. But I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Let me know, what do you think? FF? Potential? One day, next Ferrari, what would you get instead? But give the video a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe for plenty more videos to come.